This is Math 2, Unit 10, Lesson 7, intercept form. How many forms have we learned? We've learned vertex form, what else? Starts with an S, ST, standard form. And what's the last form we're learning today? Intercept form. I'm going to put up here zeros because many times they'll call those zeros. The zeros are the same as finding your intercepts. So if they ever ask you, find your zeros, they're telling you to find your intercepts. And how do we find our intercepts again, or x-intercept specifically? Change the y to 0. Good job. All right, so what does vertex form look like? Y equals a x minus h quantity squared plus k. Okay, everyone have it? All right, who remembers what this form is nice for when you're looking for the what? This form is nice when you're looking for the vertex. Looking for the vertex. Now, I'm going to put parentheses here. When they ask for the vertex, what are other things that they may ask for that you need to know the vertex? I know that sounds kind of weird. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Right here. The minimum value of a function is -1. Is that the y value of your vertex? The maximum value of the function is y equals 5. Is that the y value of your vertex? Yes. Here it's y equals 5. Is it the same thing, the y value of your vertex? And here it's 1. Is it also the y value of your vertex? So what else might they ask you for that this form is really nice for? The max or minimum value. Or even the axis of symmetry, any one of those, because the axis of symmetry is always the x value. -2, -2, -4, -4, 4, 4, and 1, 1. So any one of those things, this is nice to find the vertex. It's nice to find the max or minimum value. I'm not going to write it down, but it's also nice to find the what I just said, an axis of symmetry. All right, standard form is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, this is standard form. Does anybody remember what this form is really nice for? Which ones? Not the x, but the y's. Looking for y-intercepts. Good job. If you've forgotten that, make sure you put a note there because they're going to ask you that on the test. Looking for the y-intercept. Who remembers why this works out nicely? When I'm looking for y-intercepts, what do I plug in for x? 0. So if I plug in 0 there and 0 there, what's going to always be left over? The c, the constant. Whatever's at your end is always going to be your y-intercept. Only when it's in standard form, not this form. All right. And the last one is the new one that we're working with today, intercept form. And it looks like this. Y equals a parentheses, x minus p, close parentheses, x minus q. Now, we've seen them like this before. We haven't really talked about this form. It's called the intercept form. And what is it nice for? Looking for the what? Good job. Looking for the x-intercepts. And this one here, the one we're going to work with today, we're going to be working with these type of functions and looking for their x-intercepts. Okay, are we good and ready? Find the x-intercepts. Write as ordered pairs. Okay, number one, y equals x plus 4, x minus 2. Now we are being asked, what are the x-intercepts? Now we've talked about this for quite a few days now. If I'm looking for the x-intercept, where am I going to plug in 0? For what letter? For the y. I'm going to make y 0 and solve. Now the worksheet we just went over yesterday, the worksheet 10.6, we had problems like this. Do you guys remember what we did? Make each one equal to 0. Do you guys remember what that property was called? The zero product property. If you have two terms, two factors being multiplied to equal 0, one of the factors must equal 0. So you can do x plus 4 equals 0 and x minus 2 equals 0. That should feel like review for you. We've done this already. We did this on Tuesday and went over it again on block day. Subtract the 4, add the 2, and you end up with two solutions. What are your two solutions? Negative 4 and 2. Now that's not how you write your answer. It says write your answer as ordered pairs. So does that mean I just do that and call it good? No, that's not what this means at all. When you put parentheses like that, you're telling me to go left 4 and up 2, and that's not what this means. These are two individual x-intercepts. How do I write this one as an ordered pair? Negative 4, 0, this one. And that there is your answer. So when we come to graphing, and we will in just a bit, we'll find our vertex, and when we find these x-intercepts, we are able to graph. Is this the form where I can look and say my y-intercept is the last number? Can I do that with this form right here? No. This form is used when we're looking for what? Do you agree it's really nice in finding the x-intercepts? How many of you guys could skip this stuff here and just say, oh, it's negative 4 and positive 2? Anybody feel like they're there already? That's where you want to be eventually. Okay, number 2. Y equals negative 3/5 times x minus 5 times x minus 2. Okay. Now I have three factors. I have 1, 2, and 3. Does everybody see that? So I'm going to take negative 3/5, make it equal to 0, x minus 5, make it equal to 0, and x minus 2, and make it equal to 0. How many of you can do this one in your head right now without any work? What's the answer going to be for this one I'm pointing at? 2. How about this one? 5. How about this one? What am I solving for over here on these two? I'm solving for what letter? X. Is there an x to solve for here? Can negative 3/5 by itself equal 0? Yes or no? No. There's no work there. There's nothing to solve for because that's not true. Negative 3/4 or negative 3/5 by itself cannot equal 0. So how is that different from, say, this? Negative 3/5 x, x minus 5, and x minus 2. Is there a difference? Is there a difference? Yes or no? Anyone see it? the x. So this time when I treat this as my first factor, we already know what to do on that one. Negative 3/5 x equals 0. On that one, can I solve? Yes? Divide both sides by negative 3/5 or multiply by the reciprocal. Either way, what does it come out to be? What's 0 times that fraction? 0. Okay. When is the only time I have a single little number or term out here, a factor, when is that going to work to equal 0? When it has a what next to it? X, or a variable. If it does not, like that one there, will it equal 0 by itself? No. You need to know that because it's going to come up a lot. All right. Add 5. Add 2. What are my two solutions? Positive 5 and positive 2. Do I leave my answer like that? No. Ordered pair 5, 0, 2, 0. Number 3. Actually, before I do number 3, I'm going to start a new section. Any questions on 1 or 2? Okay, next section. Find the y-intercept. ... ordered pair. Write as an ordered pair. Okay, number 1. Y equals parentheses x plus 4 parentheses x minus 2. All right, first question I have for you. Is this the one that's set up in the nice, easy form to find the y-intercept? Yes or no? Y-intercept is used. Y-intercept is nice when you have it in standard form. Is this standard form? No. So can I look at it and say, oh, it's the last number, negative 2? No. What do we have to do to find the y-intercept? Make x what? Make x equal to 0. There's actually work here. 0 plus 4, 0 minus 2. Go ahead and solve. Okay, what do we have? Y equals 4 times negative 2. What do we end up with? Bless you. Y equals what? Okay, as an ordered pair, is that negative 8, 0 or 0, negative 8? It's a y-intercept, so what is it? 0, negative 8. Why? Because we made our x values 0. We made our x values 0. So x is 0, y is negative 8. All right, number 2. Y equals negative 3/5 parentheses x minus 5 close parentheses x minus 2. All right, we're still doing the same thing. You're still going to plug in 0. Negative 3/5, 0 minus 5, 0 minus 2. Go ahead and do that now. All right, first off, is it going to end up positive or negative if I'm multiplying 3 negatives together? Negative. What's 3 times 5 times 2? Can you guys do that? Or 5 times 2 times 3, or 3 times 2 times 5? What is it? Did I hear 30? Okay, so negative 30 over, what's 5 times 1 times 1? What's negative 30 divided by 5? 6 or negative 6? Negative 6, so 0 comma negative 6 is my y-intercept. Okay. Questions? All right, let's tie it in with this last one. We are going to factor and sketch. Factor and sketch. Y equals x squared plus 2x minus 15. All right, are we ready? There's more pieces I'm going to ask you for, and it's similar to what you're going to see on the test. They're going to have x-intercepts. They're going to ask you for AOS. What does AOS stand for? Axis of symmetry. The vertex, we know what the vertex means, and the y-intercepts. Okay, are we ready? Now, question I have for you guys, is this in the nice form where I can find the vertex? Oh, sorry, the vertex. Opposite of the inside, outside stays the same, yes or no? No. I want you guys to think, because this will be a test question. What is this nice to find? The x-intercepts, the y-intercept, or the vertex? Do you guys agree this is the one for the y? So without any work, can you guys do that right now? What's the y-intercept going to be? 0 comma negative 15. Does anybody not sure where people, because I only had a handful of kids say it, is anyone not sure where the negative 15 is coming from? It comes from what? The C value. You're right. Because if you find in the y-intercept, that means you're making x equal to 0. If you plug in 0 plus 0 minus 15, do you agree it's negative 15? Okay. We are going to graph it. I'll graph it down here. We'll do all the work up there. Okay. Now, x-intercepts. How do I find the x-intercepts? What do I plug in for y? 0. 0 equals x squared plus 2x minus 15. That one right there is from lesson 6. How do I solve? Is this one where I'm going to add the 15 and then divide and square root both sides? No. Do you see that there's multiple x's there? There's an x squared and an x. Does everybody see that? When there's multiple x's, an x squared and an x, that's one you're going to have to factor. They did give you a hint up there. It did say factor, but not all of them will on the test. It'll just say solve. So when you're solving an equation and you see multiple x's, an x squared and an x, what little key should go off in your head that you're going to factor? If they ask you to solve an equation, it equals 0, there's multiple x's, we're going to factor. Whether it's trinomial factoring, GCF factoring, or difference of two squares factoring, it's going to be a factor problem. All right, do we all agree that x times x is x squared? Okay, so then put it in plus minus. We know it's plus minus because it's negative 15. I'm going to let you guys finish that part off. All right, anybody have it? What is it? 5-3. Do you guys agree it's 5-3? Yes. Can anybody tell me? Jackson, are you working with us? Which one's positive, which one's negative? Anyone? Positive 5 and negative 3? Does that work? Yes. At this point, we usually stop. Oh, that's our answer, but right now we're solving. What's the property called? We just went over it on this side. Zero product property. X plus 5 equals 0. X minus 3 equals 0. You solve each one. How many answers do we end up with? 2. This one here is negative 5. Over here it's positive or negative 3. So they give us 2 ordered pairs up here. How do we write these 2 answers as ordered pairs? Negative 5, 0 and 3, 0. Okay, so these 2 are my x-intercepts. Now, struggling at this point, do we have any tools to find the axis of symmetry or the vertex when it's in this form? No. One, I told you we haven't learned the tools yet to change this to vertex form. We will learn that eventually. Second, the axis of symmetry. How am I going to get that from all of this? So here's what you do. And you do have some like this on the test. You do have some today on your work. You'll be given the graph paper, but for today we're going to draw it. I'm going to make mine kind of big. And the reason I'm making it big is because I know I have a y-intercept of negative 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. So what else? What else can I plot besides my y-intercept? Anybody know? What else can I plot besides my y-intercept? Can we plot the x-intercepts? Do we know those? Did we find them? They weren't given to us. Did we find them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3. Okay. So that's all I have. This point down here is not a vertex. This is the y-intercept. I have these 2 x-intercepts, these 2 y-intercepts, and I need you guys to think long and hard how we can find the axis of symmetry from those points. Specifically the x-intercepts. How can we find the axis of symmetry from the x-intercepts? Did you guys hear him? Yes. And did we talk about that in notes before? Yes. He said, aren't they both equidistant from the axis of symmetry? So should the axis of symmetry be right in the middle? So count your way to the middle. Count one over from each side until you find your way to the middle. And your origin counts as one of the steps, one of the points. Where do you end up at? Was it negative 1? All right, I'm going to draw this nice and big. What would I put for my axis of symmetry? Not just negative 1, but x equals negative 1. Okay, you need to know this. Let's check. It from the axis of symmetry, 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left, I have intercepts. Is that the way it should work? Yes. Listening. If you don't like counting your way in, I'm going to give you one other tool. You add these 2 and cut it in half. Negative 5 plus 3 cut in half. Kind of finding the midpoint. What's negative 5 plus 3? And what's negative 2 divided by 2? Did it work? Okay, so you have two choices. You count your way to the middle, or you find the midpoint between negative 5 and 3. All right. So now that we know that, what do I still have left to find? The vertex. I don't know where it's at. Do I know from the vertex here, would I go up or down according to where my y-intercept is at? If my y-intercept is down at the bottom, would it make any sense for my vertex to be up here? No. Would it have to be down here? Would it be up above the negative 15 or down below the negative 15? In order to hit that and that, do you agree it has to be down here somewhere? How do we find it? We know this function. We know the x value. Oh, do we know the x value of our vertex? What is the x value? Why is it -1? Because the vertex, the axis of symmetry always goes to the vertex. All right, if x is -1, how do I find the y value with this equation? What are we going to do? Where are we getting the x equals -1? From the axis of symmetry. Will those always be the same? The x value of your vertex and the axis of symmetry. Okay, so plug it in. Y equals -1 squared plus 2 times -1 minus 15. These negative ones are coming from what we're plugging in for x. Let's do it quickly. What's -1 squared? Plus what's 2 times -1? +2 or -2? So I'm going to put -2 and then minus 15. Let's keep going. What's 1 minus 2? And -1 minus 15? -16. So did we have the vertex? Left 1, down 16. And is it down below the y-intercept like we said it would be? So, if this is from this point right here, think of this little axis marking. If that's 1 to the right, do I know I also have 1 to the left? Do I know that point's there as well? Because of the symmetrical business of the axis of symmetry, yes or no? All right, so open up, hitting that point the best you can. And will you have stuff like this on the test? Yes. What worksheet do you have tonight? Worksheet what? Worksheet 7. And everything we did in these notes is in that worksheet, so make sure you understand how to do it.